There is a sport played on manicured grass, in near silence, by people wearing collared shirts and speaking in low voices. No roaring crowds, no halftime shows, no trash talk on national television, no viral moments every Sunday. And yet, this sport generates over $1.3 billion in media rights revenue alone in a single year. Its top tour signed a 9-year television deal worth $6.3 billion. Its flagship tournament, held once a year in Augusta, Georgia, generates an estimated $200 million in local economic impact every single time it opens its gates. You probably think golf is just a rich person's hobby that accidentally became a business. But here's what you don't know. Golf did not become financially powerful because rich people play it. Golf became financially powerful because it figured out something that almost no other sport in the world understood. That the most valuable thing you can sell in sports is not a seat in a stadium. It is access to a room full of the right people. And in a few minutes, I will show you the exact mechanism that turned a quiet game played in green fields into one of the most sophisticated money machines in modern sports. Let's start with a number that will reframe everything you think you know about golf. The average household income of an American golf audience is over $100,000 per year. Their average net worth sits between $750,000 and $1.2 million. 40% of regular golfers plan to seek financial planning advice within the next year. 44% are actively investing to retire early. Now think about what that means for a brand trying to reach those people. Higher income consumers are notoriously difficult to advertise to. They skip ads faster. They trust traditional advertising less. They have developed filters that most marketing simply cannot penetrate. But those same high-income consumers are 78% more likely to follow golf than any other comparable demographic group. 78%. That single statistic is why Fortune 500 companies do not just sponsor golf tournaments. They build their entire premium marketing strategies around them. Because golf does not give a brand a billboard in front of millions of random people. Golf gives a brand a seat at a table with the exact people those brands need to reach. Executives, investors, high net worth individuals, and the top tier of the consumer spending pyramid. And that is just where the story begins. Now here is the part most people miss when they think about golf and money. They imagine sponsorships. They imagine logo placements on polo shirts. That is real, but it is only the visible surface of a much deeper financial structure. Golf makes money in 4 distinct layers simultaneously, and each layer feeds the others. The first layer is media. The PGA Tour's television deal with CBS, NBC, and ESPN is worth approximately $700 million per year. That deal covers 36 tournaments and 4,000 hours of streaming coverage annually. The Masters alone, just one tournament held once a year, averaged nearly 10 million television viewers in its final round in 2024. 10 million people sitting still, watching a sport that unfolds in near silence. That is not an accident. That is a carefully constructed media product designed for a very specific type of attention. The second layer is sponsorship. The Masters generated an estimated $50.75 million in annual sponsorship revenue in 2024. One tournament, 1 week. $50 million in sponsorship alone. The PGA Championship had 20 distinct sponsorship partners in 2024. And there is one brand that sponsors all 4 major golf tournaments simultaneously, Rolex. Not 1, not 2, all 4. Why would Rolex do that? Because among golf fans specifically, Rolex achieves a 36% increase in brand recognition and a 12% increase in brand preference. Compare that to competing luxury watch brands that do not sponsor golf. They see only an 11% increase in recognition among the same audience. Rolex's estimated sponsorship agreement with the European Tour alone is nearly $193 million. That is not a passion project. That is a calculated financial investment based on precise audience data. The third layer is hospitality, and this is where golf gets genuinely different from every other sport on the planet. At the Ryder Cup in 2025, 39 active sponsors collectively invested approximately $100 million for a 4-day event. Brands like Moet and Chandon, BMW, LVMH's Loro Piana, and Ralph Lauren were not just buying logo space. They were buying the right to be physically present in the same environment as golf's audience, to host clients, close deals, entertain decision makers, and have conversations that no boardroom could ever replicate. This is the hospitality economy, and golf runs it better than any other sport in the world. But the fourth layer, the deepest one, is something that does not appear in any financial report, and I will get to it in a moment, because when I explain it, you will understand why golf's real power has almost nothing to do with what happens on the course. Let's talk about Augusta National Golf Club. Most people think of Augusta as a historic tournament venue, and it is. But it is also one of the most deliberately controlled economic environments in all of American sports. Augusta National does not sell domestic television rights for the Masters. For decades, it has structured its media arrangements in ways that protect the event's prestige and scarcity. It does not allow corporate signage on its grounds. It limits its concession prices intentionally. A pimento cheese sandwich at Augusta has famously cost under $2 for years, not because they cannot charge more, but because the experience of the Masters is engineered to feel exclusive, not commercial. And yet, Augusta's Pro Shop alone generates approximately $50 million in merchandise revenue every single week of tournament week. Reports suggest the shop brings in around $850,000 per hour during peak days. Over $140 million in merchandise annually, from one shop, 1 week, one tournament. This is the genius of artificial scarcity. By refusing to look like a commercial operation, Augusta National became one of the most powerful commercial brands in American sports. The less it sells, the more everything it does sell is worth. That is a business model, a very deliberate, very sophisticated one. And now you are beginning to see the pattern. Golf does not monetize loudly, it monetizes precisely. But here is the question that should be bothering you by now. Why does this work? Other sports have wealthy fans too. The NFL generates more than $20 billion in annual revenue. The NBA has a global fan base. Formula One has a premium audience. Why is golf specifically so attractive to luxury brands, financial institutions, and corporate networks? The answer goes back to that fourth layer I mentioned, the one that does not appear in any financial report. Golf is a 4-hour business meeting disguised as a sport. 73% of Fortune 500 CEOs play golf. When two executives play a round together, they are not just exercising. They are spending 4 uninterrupted hours in a social environment that strips away the formality of offices, the pressure of scheduled meetings, and the performance anxiety of formal negotiations. Golf creates what behavioral economists call low-friction trust. A shared experience that builds familiarity at a speed that corporate dinners and conference calls simply cannot match. Corporate golf memberships at elite clubs are not sold as leisure products. They are sold as relationship infrastructure. Companies justify these memberships as business development tools because they are. The return on investment from a single round of golf that closes a major partnership can exceed years of traditional marketing spend. No other sport has figured out how to make itself simultaneously a competitive event, a media product, a luxury brand environment, and a live business development platform, all at the same time. Golf is not just a sport that wealthy people watch. It is a business environment that uses sport as its operating system. Now here is where the story takes a turn that most people do not expect. In 2022, a new golf league called LIV Golf launched with Saudi sovereign wealth funding behind it. It paid some of the world's top golfers hundreds of millions of dollars in guaranteed contracts. It was louder, faster, more entertainment-driven. It had big names. It had spectacle. And yet, LIV Golf's total sponsorship revenue in 2024 was $17 million. Its broadcast rights revenue was $2.7 million. Compare that to the Masters' $50 million sponsorship haul from a single tournament. Compare that to the PGA Tour's $700 million annual television deal. LIV Golf had more money to spend than almost any sports organization in history. It had celebrity players. It had Saudi Arabia's financial backing. And it still could not replicate what the PGA Tour had built over decades. Because the thing LIV Golf could not buy was the trust of the audience that golf's business model depends on. Premium brands did not rush to sponsor LIV events. Corporate hospitality clients did not migrate to LIV tournaments. The business ecosystem around golf, the one built on prestige, exclusivity, institutional trust, and access to high net worth individuals, did not transfer to a new product just because that product had more money behind it. That is the most important lesson in this entire story. In most industries, capital can buy market position. You can outspend competitors and win. But in businesses built around trust, prestige, and elite social signaling, money alone is not enough. The relationships and the reputation have to be earned, and they take decades to build. Golf figured that out long before most sports even understood they were in a business. You probably grew up thinking that the biggest sports were the richest sports. The loudest stadiums, the biggest television ratings, the most viral moments, the most recognizable athletes. And in terms of total revenue, that is partially true. The NFL is the highest grossing sports league in the world. The NBA has global cultural reach that golf will never match. The UFC turned combat sports into a multi-billion-dollar spectacle machine. But here is the distinction that changes everything. The NFL monetizes scale. It needs hundreds of millions of people watching to generate its revenue. Its advertisers are selling mass consumer products, beer, cars, fast food, insurance, to as wide an audience as possible. The NFL's value depends on its audience being enormous. Golf does not need an enormous audience. Golf needs the right audience. Mid to high income individuals make up 74% of PGA Tour television viewers. Not a segment, not a demographic slice. 74% of the viewing audience. When a financial services company, a luxury automotive brand, a private wealth management firm, or a premium consumer goods company buys advertising time during golf coverage, they are not hoping to reach their target customer somewhere in the noise. They are reaching a room where their target customer is already the majority. That efficiency is worth more per viewer than almost any other media product in American sports. A smaller, richer room is sometimes worth more than a bigger, louder one. And that brings us to the final truth, the one that reframes the entire picture. Golf did not become one of the richest businesses in sports because wealthy people happened to play it. Golf became one of the richest businesses in sports because it engineered every element of its product. Its media deals, its sponsorship structures, its tournament economics, its hospitality model, its club cultures, its pace of play, its dress codes, its silence on the course. To maximize the concentration of wealth and decision-making power in one place. Everything about golf's design, whether intentional or evolved, ended up serving one business function, creating an environment where money feels at home. And once an environment like that exists, every premium brand, every financial institution, every luxury product company, and every corporation that needs access to the upper tier of the economy will pay an extraordinary premium to be part of it. That is the real business of golf. Not the tournaments, not the television deals, not even the sponsorships. The real business of golf is the room. A room where the sport is almost secondary to the relationships being built, the deals being discussed, and the trust being accumulated on 4 hours of green grass. Golf did not need to become the most popular sport in America to become one of the most financially powerful ones. Because in modern sports and in modern business, the most powerful position is not always the one with the loudest crowd. Sometimes it is the one with the richest room, and golf has been that room for over a century.